Playing your scales, particularly in different ways, is something that's extremely essential to your practice routine if you're trying to improve your two-handed piano playing. We're going to go into a little bit more detail about scales, but we're also going to talk about some exercises that I also suggest you add in, and we're going to combine it together into a super 10-minute practice regimen that I'm going to show you that can really improve your two-handed piano playing. And at the end, I'm going to do it myself to show you how I do it. Okay, so as I mentioned, the first thing that we're going to talk about is scales. We're going to be spending the 3 of our 10 minutes on this. You want to go through as many scales as you can in 3 minutes. If you're new to playing scales, you're probably going to spend most or all your time on just one scale. If you know all your scales already, try practicing them in contrary motion and in thirds, which I'll show you right now pretty much. And then also try practicing with a metronome. I'm going to include a link in the description once you're done watching this video about a video I made about playing scales. So let's take a look. So I was talking about the standard way of learning scales is to play them in parallel, meaning you're playing the same note at the same time, an octave apart, going at the same tempo. Then what you want to do is you want to start practicing scales in contrary motion, going from the middle of the scale out. And then you want to also try practicing them in thirds. This is after you've learned them in parallel motion, where you start on C, and then with your right hand, you're going to start on the third note of the scale, so they are a third apart. Just like that. Okay, next we're going to talk about Czerny and Hanon exercises, which should take up another 4 of our 10 minutes. And you want to play through at least one Hanon or Czerny exercise for 4 minutes. You want to shoot for accuracy in notes, and that's more important than the speed. And for an additional challenge, see if you can play it along with the metronome, which is that thing that does the beeps and the clicks. I'm going to do that when I do the 10 minutes myself. So let's take a look actually right here. So this is an example of a Hanon exercise. These are great if you're just starting out learning how to play exercises two-handed because you're playing them in parallel motion. Again, meaning you're playing the same note just an octave apart. And that's to develop just very basic coordination. You're not playing different things between each hand. So I would actually work your way through all the Hanon exercises first, or a lot of them, and then try out the Czerny exercises. So let me show you what a Czerny exercise is going to look like. So here we have a few of them here, and you can see already that there's different things going on between each clef. Now you might have to play it slower than I do, which is fine. In fact, you will have to play it probably slower if you are just starting out. I've actually even played this one before. So I would play through that, and then since I got through that one pretty easy, I'd probably just keep moving on to the next example. And like I said, for an additional challenge, I'd turn on the metronome to see if I could play in time with that. Okay, then lastly, we're going to spend 3 minutes sight reading. Sight reading is looking at a piece of music for the first time and attempting to play it. Again, accuracy is far more important than speed, although once you start to get used to sight reading, you do want to try to play it as close to the original speed as you can. But if you're starting out, go slow. The sight reading examples you should play should be less difficult than the pieces you are currently trying to play. If you try to sight read something at the level that you're used to learning pieces, because a lot of times when we learn pieces, especially when they're a little challenging, we spend weeks on them, right, before they really start to sound good. So you don't really want to do that with sight reading, because the whole goal is to make it from beginning to end of the example without really too many mistakes, at least hopefully not. Okay, so here we have a sight reading example. You might want to practice it hand separate if you're brand new to sight reading, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it nice and slow, but I am going to try to do it hands together because since I think I can do it. So here we go. I'm going to play this little minuet for you. just like that. There's more to it, but I'll play through it when I do the 10 minutes. Sight reading, by the way, is the most important thing I think you can practice at all. You know, between scales, the charity and everything, if say you only have a very limited amount of time to practice, get some sight reading in. It will really, really benefit you in the long run. And then you may be thinking, well, do I have to stick to the 10 minutes when I do this practice routine? And the answer is no. Of course you can practice longer if you want to, but this is just fitting it all in, making sure you get it all in 10 minutes a day, and you will see some results for that, because practicing something a little bit each day is certainly a lot better than practicing something a whole lot only once a week. Consistency is key. Okay, now I am going to demonstrate. We're going to do 3 minutes of scales, 4 minutes of Hanon, and then 3 minutes of sight reading. Ready, set, go. Okay, time for scales. So like I said, I know all my scales already, so I'm going to go through as many of these as I can. I'm going to play one in parallel. I'm actually going to do them 2 octaves. Did that pretty easy. Now I'm going to do it in contrary. And then I'm going to do it in thirds. And I did great with that. So I'm going to move on to the next scale. If I didn't do so great, I'd keep trying that C scale. Oops. And then in thirds, not bad. And then I'm going to go on to D. And then in thirds. See how I struggle with that? I'm going to try it again. I'm going to slow it down though. I did have the fingering right at the end. I got a little confused. Thirds means you're playing them 3 notes apart. So if I start on D, and I start on the 3rd note of the scale, that's where the 3rd comes in. Just like that. So that time I did a lot better. So I'd move on to the next scale, which happens to be A. Oops. And thirds. Mess that up a little bit, so I'm going to start again. Okay, so we're over 3 minutes, so I'm going to actually jump on to the next thing. 4 minutes of the Hanon and the Czerny. So let's do a Hanon exercise. You know, I'm going to put on a metronome along with it. Hopefully you can hear that. I think you should be able to, because it's ear-bleedingly loud for me. Now the whole goal of the metronome is to sync up your notes, the clicks of the metronome. scroll down. So you can do, actually, you know, I'm going to do a chair knee exercise now. I would spend just one time on one or the other, but since I'm just kind of demonstrating for you, I'm going to move on to a chair knee exercise. So I'm going to do a new one I haven't done before. I'm going to play it nice and slow. So there we go. I'm going to keep going. So there we go. We're down to our last few minutes. Somebody asked how slow is just too slow. Honestly, you can't go slow enough. Like if you feel like you can play it through perfectly, then increase the speed a little bit. All right, let's get on to the sight reading, and then I'll answer the questions in more detail. All right, so now I'm going to spend time on the sight reading example here. I'm going to do this new one that I haven't done before. One of the keys of sight reading is you want to be sight reading different things every single day. So here we go. Going. Okay, gonna move on to this next one. Let me make sure you can see it. Just like that. All right, we got 1:45 left, so I'm just going to keep plowing through these sight reading examples, see as many as I can get through. Like I said, if you're just starting out, you're not going to be able to do as many scales as me or hand-in exercises. You're going to be limited to probably just practicing one of each. Here we go. And I am ignoring a lot of the repeats, if you've noticed, mainly because I'm just trying to get through as many as I can. Now, you may be asking, since we only have 10 seconds left, I'm not going to play another one. Should you replay your sight reading examples? If they went really, really poorly, then yes. Try to play it again and correct as many mistakes as you can. And boo, we're out of time. So we've taken up the 10 minutes. I already feel like that I've gotten a two-handed workout of sorts. Of course, for me, I'd like to do this longer. I would spend more time on each of these things. But like I said, the whole thing about this is to make sure that you're getting the full essentials of playing with both hands within a half an hour, within 10 minutes of time, just to make sure you can get that consistency every single day. Nathan brings up a really good point. Does anybody... basically, they'll practice something before bed, and then they'll go to sleep, and then they'll wake up, and they'll struggle with it when they were playing it at night. But when they wake up in the morning, they can play it suddenly so much better. This is actually something the human mind does. So when you sleep and you dream, your mind is doing a lot of processes. And actually, from what I understand, now I'm not a brain scientist by any stretch, so if I misspeak or say something stupid, please forgive me. But from what I understand is that your brain will go over all of the experiences that you had during the day. I think that's kind of what dreaming's about a little bit. Your brain is kind of like piecing all this stuff together and sorting it out. But from what I understand is your brain waves when you sleep sometimes are, I don't know if it's true or not. It sounds kind of like too magical to be true. But apparently your brain waves are the brain waves you had when you were awake in reverse, or they're the same brain waves or something like that. Like your brain definitely goes through the same kind of stuff when you sleep than when you're awake. So if you practice at night and then you practice again in the morning, I've had the same thing happen to me where I can suddenly get it a lot better. Also, you can't discount that sleeping, you get rest, you refresh your brain pretty much. So you're looking at it from a fresh perspective. So there's that kind of dynamic as well. Very, very cool insight from Nathan. I gotta sleep, bro. I will join you later in 2 times. All right, 2 hours time. That's perfect, Liv Prince. We won't be on at that time, but you can check out the recording of the entire thing. So awesome that you could come out and join us today, and that you are a new student of ours. Okay, Joanne Woods, welcome out to the live stream, by the way. Left hand is so hard, so I'm doing this. All right, perfect. I do have a lesson on left-handed piano playing that I think you should check out. So let me tell you how you can find it, and then I'll put it in the description a little bit later on. So I'm sure if you just go to YouTube and you type in left hand and then lessons on the web, or piano lessons on the web, both work. Scroll down, and the one you're going to be looking for is this easy pattern. Will greatly improve your left-handed piano playing. This one I think is perfect for what you're struggling with. Okay, we got Mike back again. Mike says, yeah, me as well. Okay, so he's basically talking about sleeping, I think. Dimitri says, hi, Tim. Welcome. Okay, Barbara. Getting to Barbara's question. I know a lot of these questions you guys asked a while ago, but like I said, I like to get through the whole lesson first and then ask the questions. It makes the lesson flow so much nicer. Barbara says, when I ask what number do you give an accidental, I believe you said a sharp is sharp plus and a flat is sharp minus. So in the key of C, C sharp is 1 plus. I'm actually not sure. Barbara, can you reiterate your question? I'm actually not sure about the sharp plus thing. I don't know if I've ever said that. Or if you're just trying to, like, abbreviate what you're talking about and I'm not catching it. So ask me again, see if you can, like, reword the question a little bit. I get, as you know from people asking questions, like, if I'm not used to the way it's phrased, I get confused easily. So, forgive me for that. Okay, we got Barbara. I find if you've been sight reading, actually, you know what I want to do? I'm going to get back to Barbara's question here first. Carol has given a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for the donation, Carol. I appreciate the little tip that you've given for the efforts that I put forward. If you're interested in the same kind of thing, the super chat is a function in YouTube. It actually isn't available for a lot of people, which is a shame because some people do want to donate. But you click that super chat button and you put in a few dollars if you want to say thanks for tonight. But if you want to sit back, relax, and enjoy the lesson, you just being here is great support as well. But a special thank you to Carol. Okay, back to Barbara. Barbara says, if you find you've been sight reading wrong in the middle of a song, say forgetting a sharp, should you start over? And I kind of addressed this a little bit. You shouldn't start over from the very beginning, or you should finish the entire example when you're sight reading. No matter how many mistakes you have, just try to make it to the end. And then what you want to do is you want to spend maybe a minute or so analyzing where things went wrong. And then you want to play the sight reading example again. This is if they go really badly and you're like, oh, you know, I had a lot of mistakes here. So just try to pinpoint any mistakes, and that sharp would be there. You'd be like, all right, I missed that. That was supposed to be an F sharp. I played regular F. And then on the second playthrough all the way through, and then see if you can correct it. It's a little different than if you're playing a piece of music for something that you're learning, because when you do that, you want to go over mistakes again and again, just that measure that you made the mistake, instead of playing through the whole thing. So it's a little different when you're sight reading. Hey, Fuddy Duddy's back here from Bangor. Welcome, Fuddy. So happy you come out with us. Adria says, one thing I did when I practiced and something new was introduced to my lessons, like 1 and 3 chords, I would make it a part of my warm-up. Okay, awesome. Only practicing what is in front of me. That's a great way. So if there's something new, especially if you find it a little confusing, start your practice out with that, and that will solidify your problem areas. What great advice. Thank you very much, Adria. I appreciate that. Okay. Joanne Woods says, how do you do the left hand exercise? Check out the video I gave you. I pointed you to it a minute ago. It's called This Easy Pattern Will Greatly Improve Your Left Hand Piano Playing. If you just search left hand and lessons on the web, it will come up. Basically, though, if you are struggling with your left hand and you're doing, like, say, a sight reading example, let me get the example we had up a few minutes ago. Okay. Yeah, so say I have this up, right? And I struggle with my left hand a lot. Well, chances are you're not going to be able to play it hands together if you struggle with your left hand. So what I would do is I would actually play through these examples just with your left hand. And I would play your left hand through twice as much as your right hand. And then over time, this will help strengthen your left hand, right? Since a lot of times every musician has weaknesses, whether it's one of their hands or their understanding of music theory or their ability to sight read. So the number one thing is, and this is true with almost anything in life, is how do you get better at something? By doing it more often. So you should actually be playing through your left hand parts more than your right hand. So do it hand separate. So for every 2 times, or for every 1 time you play through the right hand, play it through twice with your left hand. And then as you actually learn new pieces and things like that, your left hand and right hand ability should start to kind of come together. You'll always have one dominant hand over the other. I'm right-handed pretty much no matter what. But my left hand has come a long way. And that's just because I've really stuck it out through all these exercises and kept going. It does take time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Okay, Linda has some good advice. Linda says, I have made a practice journal for myself to keep track of what I'm spending my time on. It really helps to remind me and not to forget things. Fantastic. Okay, thirds cool. I'm going to start doing thirds. Never was taught that. Yeah, so Thomas, check out the, and everybody else, try practicing your scales in thirds. Okay, I know, but does it take a while to get the left hand working? Yes, the answer is yes to that, and doing it at the same time with the right hand. That does take time, and honestly, when you start to put it hands together, continuing on the advice I gave you before, when you first started to put it hands together, make sure you go very slow. And Luchandor says, how slow is just too slow? You want to go as slow as you need to do to be able to get the notes between each hand. If you're able to play through the example at that speed, then actually you can actually gradually increase the tempo each time you play by just a little bit. Okay, Carol says, I'm still working on scales the regular way, which is totally fine, and I'm finally making progress. I'm a little afraid of the thirds now, but I'm going to try very slowly. In my general music class, I'm learning piano, but it's history. Oh, man. So that doesn't really get you playing piano too much. If you are new to learning piano, everybody, I want to direct you to, if you go to my... You know what? Let me get you a link. I want to get you a link. If you type in, actually, I don't know what you're gonna type in for this. Let me send you over a link. So everybody, just give me a minute. Okay. There you go. So I gave you a link in the description if you're new to learning piano and you want to make sure you get the basics down. That's where you want to go. Okay, piano is a lifelong journey. I agree. All right, Real One's a fan says he'll pick up the stream afterwards. Okay. We got a great lesson tonight, or good lesson tonight. Thank you very much, Carol. Thomas says Tim's electronic piano is pretty cool. How much is that? It's a Roland RD 700SX. They run for a brand new one, which you can't get the 700s anymore. I think you can get 800. They're like, I don't know, like high thousands, maybe $2,000. So they are pricey, but it is well built. I've had this thing for like 12 years now, and this thing is still going strong. The keys still feel nice on it, and there's nothing broken on it, and it's fantastic. Okay, Loretta says, what is the significance of a Hanon exercise? What is it meant to achieve? And is it very important for an absolute beginner like me? I admit that I have great challenge sight reading. It's Hanon exercises. The whole point of Hanon exercises is like scales. You're getting used to playing the same note between each hand an octave apart. This just helps develop basic coordination skills. I wouldn't start learning Hanon until maybe you're a month into playing. It depends on how far you get. But Hanon exercises are certainly easier than a lot of other ones. Sam says, lots to learn. Thank you, Tim. You're very welcome. Sam says, do you have a beginner tutorials / courses that I should start on? The answer is yes. So I gave you a link below, but there's another thing I want to talk to everybody about here that you kind of reminded me. I think now is the perfect time. And I'll get to everybody else's questions. It looks like I'm getting pretty close to the bottom here, which is fantastic. Looks like we got to everybody. Okay, if you want to gain a concrete understanding of piano music, you want to check out my online piano and music courses over on www.pianolessonsontheweb.com. And I want to tell you that if you use code YouTube, a special thank you for coming out tonight, use code YouTube during checkout, you're going to get 15% off. So over on my website, I have over 20 courses I've designed, not just to help you learn more about piano, but learn all about music, music theory, improvisation, a lot of other skills to really help you become a well-rounded musician. And actually, if you go to the Buy Courses page, there will be the course pack. So you can buy courses in packs and get a discount. Actually, if you buy them all together, you get them for much, much cheaper than the whole thing. And then, of course, than buying them individually. And then, of course, the 15% off code YouTube applies to that as well. And you can actually scroll down here and see what courses we have available. If you're brand new, I suggest Introduction to Piano and Music. It's included in the beginner's pack. And for every course, you can see the course description. You can watch a sample video. You can see what's covered for that. So you can go through it and read it there. Pianolessonsontheweb.com if you want to take things to the next level. You like tonight's lesson and the lessons in general that I put out. You're going to really, really like the courses I have over there. And if anybody right now in the chat of this live stream has taken my courses, please vouch for me. I would appreciate it, and let other people know that you are enjoying them as well. Carol says, Tim, you also may be interested in his courses that he offers on his website. Assume you're talking about mine, since you are enrolled in those. It is a wise investment if you want to learn piano. I know I am improving. So glad to hear that. Oh, and then Carol does say, I meant the message to go to Sam. Tim doesn't need lessons. That is true. It says, I've tried Tim's website before, pianolessonsontheweb.com. Highly recommended. Lots of great videos. Thank you very much, Rich. I appreciate that. Gary also says, I'm using Tim's courses. Highly recommended to all. Thank you very much. Let me give everybody a link to my website. Okay, Mike says, as soon as the funds permit, I will be purchasing his courses. Thank you very much. And he says, I shared this on Facebook and talked about it with our music teacher at the school where I work. She is impressed. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Nathan says, I can vouch for the online courses. So we got another one. They are pretty fantastic. Thank you. I have only been playing for a couple of months and blown away by how much knowledge I've gained in such a short time. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate the kind words and that you like my courses. Karen says, Tim's courses are more than worth the outlay. I'm in school daily, and even the family are starting to notice my progress. That's fantastic to hear, Karen. Thank you so much. And I did get back to your email just tonight. At least I'm pretty sure that was you. If you're looking to learn more about playing with both hands, because of course you are if you clicked on this lesson, you want to check out the playlist of lessons I have all around developing your two-handed piano playing. I have lessons on right-handed playing, left-handed playing, and then of course strategies on putting them together. So you'll want to make sure you check that out. I'm going to put a link in the description and of course around there for you. So this has been Tim from Lessons on the Web. Thank you so much for being a part of our awesome classroom, and I'll talk to you real soon. Thank you so much.